There we go. In a particular valley, it was a cloudy day. And the cloudy day some said made people feel rather depressed. Their energy became heavy. Their life became unbright. Their mood was dull, and there was no opportunity for growth. And often people did not choose to go outside and to witness the world because it was too gloomy. But on the next valley, there were no clouds and the sun shone brightly, and people lived their life and went out, found their life was full of brightness, their moods were high, and they felt like they could take part in life. But the truth is, the sun is always shining. One moment it may be cloudy, and the next it may be bright. But when there is cloud, one cannot see the sun. And it could even be tempting to say the sun does not exist. But in the sunny valley, there is no doubt about sun. But they also know that the clouds will gather sometime soon. But one who lives above the clouds knows of no transient and no suffering aspects of life. So your mental state is one of a cloudy day. And you can sit and wait for clarity to dawn. Or you can understand that the sun is always shining and discover the sun on a permanent basis. The light of spirit is shining forever. It shines deep within your being, giving you love and joy and happiness. Yet the mind covers all of this possibility and tells you that life must be lived in other ways. The light of spiritual truth gives you the joy that you seek, the happiness you desire. It is not the external world. It is the internal. The internal world where you'll hear the whispers of spirit, and that reflects in every flower, in every tree, in every blade of grass. You can hear the whisper of spirit. It is not a voice that you may come to expect from your neighbors and friends. Rather, it is the pull of a vibration of truth. And the vibration of truth pulls you ever inward. The external world will not give you any of these qualities that are long-lasting. You may get a merest glimpse of the happiness and joy, but as soon as it comes, it will go. The clouds will reappear and cover your light of happiness. Now, all of this has been given to you by Spirit. And some would say that it's not very aspirational to find or to live a life of spiritual truth. They most importantly relate to living a life of happiness, and they can relate to that. But the happiness that they are demanding has only been given from spirit anyway. But they do not know from where it has come. And even those of you that access the light of happiness of spirit, where does that come from? And based on my words, you say it's a spiritual happiness. Follow your path and see where the happiness comes from. The mind, as it rises with all its confusion, follows the path of habits, and these become your greatest demon. The habits of repetition, of old beliefs, of what you may call instincts that I have always done, but they are not instincts at all. The habits are forever old. They are repetition, and they create the repetitive thoughts within your mind. Your mind circling over and over again as the thoughts of old desires inspired by your ego rise. And then your judgment of these once occurrent events means they are desired to be lived once more, avoided. It is the store of your habits and memory when triggered by your ego, means false desires arise. And the false desires means that you crave something else, something other, some other location or some other time, and say, I will be happy when. So the true way is to see this in yourself. And rather than picking away of desire and repetition through habit, you bring your attention away from that habit into the true awareness. And when the true awareness opens sufficient, and one can attain the concentration on what is true, then the soul and spirit self inspire creative thoughts. The imagination and visions where only dreams of the desires and past is available to the ego. And as soon as this true imagination coming through the clear mind, it creates something new. Your imagination creates something that has never been created before. How can this come from habitual thinking? The visions of spirit arrive to those who are true on their path. And again, these are inspired from outside of the egotistical mind. So true imagination, true visions, not dreams, are inspired from a world that is beyond your physicality. So some say that imagination is wasting time. But imagination comes in spite of time. And if you can be free to open, new worlds open forever to you. Not from within your understanding and knowledge, but from a knowledge and a source that is not your own, that inspires you to greater truth. The richness of love and the peace and stillness that is available to all beings at all times. So break away from your habits. Change directions on the smallest possible choice. Pick something new. Drive another location. Look at your life as one of inspiration and imagination, rather than conformity and order and repetition. Look over the horizon. Look deep within your being. And let the two worlds be created as one. Remove the barrier of the busy mind and let the truth of your soul speak to you once more. Follow the path of joy and happiness and love that sits within you now. It is only coming from the world unseen. And the world unseen is forever waiting for you to hold its hand and walk together. So the external world will have its use, but only if you see it with the clear eye, not with the eye to the past and to the future, but with the clear eye of spiritual presence. The clear eye where two eyes have become one. The single eye that then sees beyond physicality into the truth. And then you see spirit in every flower. You see spirit in the whisper of the wind. You see spirit as the calling from within you. And you can follow the truth of inspiration. Man seems to think that he can know what to do. But without the connection to this inner truth, he just repeats what was done before. Step away from that old repetition. Embrace the new and live your life in truth. Be inspired to take a long drive. Be inspired to sit in silence. Be inspired to give to another. And this is the calling of you all. It is far easier to go the way that Spirit will lead you, rather than the way you think you know better. The way of truth holds less obstacles and greater results and destinations that you could never dream about. The inspiration from your inner world takes you forward, not backwards. It takes you onwards. And then love becomes available. Now, this can be the love of another, but there is a greater love. a love that is not dependent upon you in any shape or form, a love that is not dependent on the performance of the other, a love that is pulling you forever into the tears of completion. The richness of life begins with the truth of your spiritual connection. No thing will ever satisfy you. No thing will ever lead you to where you must go. No thing will give you the total joy and clarity that is awaiting. It is the release of your truth that you seek. It is the release of your honesty, of your integrity, of your humility, the way you have served self and other, of the way that you will inspire others. So let your heart be in all activity. Let your heart be in no activity. Let your heart be forever in front of you so that others may take what they need. Let it be given without expectation and reward. Let your heart shine in the beauty of all that is possible and awaits you. Give your inspiration to them. Travel and dream beyond the limitation into imagination, where the expression of your truth becomes rich. And then you lead a way. You create a path, you blaze a trail, so that others may walk your path behind you. Those you love and others that you do not know. This is your potential. But you say to me, that is lovely. Let's begin next Monday. Or let's begin the 1st of January. But that never arrives. Do not waste this opportunity of a life. Choose the Spirit. And then there is life eternal. Not limited to 80 years, but to all eternity. And you have no death when you live an eternal. You have no death when there is love in your heart. When there is true love, there is no past. There is no future. There is only the quality of love that you have. And it is this pure love which asks of you only acceptance and not desire. This pure love asks you to let it in rather than trying to find it outside. Let it in, so then your being is rich and full, and the flame of life burns strongly and purely to guide others along their way. The flame of love is the torch that lights all dark paths. It calls people towards it, those struggling in their moments of darkness. It calls those which are lost and weary and have a broken heart. It calls to others that, wishing to keep their hands warm by the fire of spirit, it calls towards it the truth and not the dark. When there is light, there is no dark. You are like the cave in a mountain that, because of its nature, creates its darkness. Step out of your own cave of resistance, of limitation, and use your imagination wisely by letting it be open and clear and be inspired by things you do not know. Allow your imagination to be broad rather than narrow. Allow your imagination to give you the solutions you seek to any issue. Allow the imagination to lead you where you must go. Imagination is not a thing of a child, but represents the open mind of any being of any age. The imagination inspires those to walk in other worlds, to discover new realms, new creatures, new planets, and life that is not of this earth. Imagination at first looks like it pulls you outwards. But if you look at it truly, if you look at these thoughts which inspire you to travel around the world, where does that come from? Look into your silent mind and see where the stirrings of imagination are created. It is the silent mind that is necessary for the production of imagination. But when focused upon itself, reveals the source of all things. So it is your looking inwards, the focusing attention upon attention, that reveals greater and greater truth. It reveals wonder that you could never paint with all the colors of the world. It reveals a wonder that is not of the human self. It reveals a joy that you can never touch. And it reveals love that is waiting for you. So what use is $1 compared to this love? What use is 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 in comparison to this love? What use is all the riches put together in comparison to the love that waits you all? It is not to be brought, it is not to be sold, but it is to be given. You are both the recipient and the giver. You are the channel from one side to the other. And then you live life above the clouds. You are above the clouds in the purity of truth. You just think that the cloudy day exists. Where does your light come from? Sit in your meditation and look. Follow the breadcrumbs backwards, and there you see the truth. No rock, no tree, no scripture, no mountain will ever give it to you. It is purely looking at the one who looks. Perhaps it's time now for our healing list. If I may, Brandon, please.
Nelson Oliver Cruz Valenzuela, Lauren Collins, Alex, Roz, Amanda Kay, Karen, Rob, Elizabeth, Abby, Aiden, Suzanne, Susanna, Stephanie, Crystal and Carol, Petra R, Corinne, Tilly, Daniel, Chantal, Emily and Paul, Marlon, Dennis and Cindy Hawk, Emily and Paul, Carrie and family, Nazrin, Beth, Vivian and Wendy, Tamara and Jonah, Wendy, Gerard, Taylor, Faye and Dale Kenny, Deborah, Helen, Bob and Val Oswald, Howard, Nigel Clark and Margaret, Teresa, Deborah Cohen, Lorna, Justin, Courtney, Ajit, and Keiko. Thank you.
Now, there is a simple message for one that is waiting, and perhaps said rather a little more poetically than directly, but you would understand. There is Kripa in the past. There is Kripa in the present. And there is Kripa in the future. Your answer lies there to understand the decision that you have and the question that you ask in your mind and heart. So it is rather a simple process when you look at your life. It may be given in inspiring speeches or simple acts of kindness where you find your truth. And your kindness may be an expression of your truth. the generosity of your own soul and your own spirit inspires both you and other. A life of purpose, you would say. A life of passion, you would hope. But all purpose and all passion is known by the truth of spirit. So if you wonder where you go and why you go there, you try to push your life, manipulate or control. But if you come within and ask the question, it is quite a simple question, but this question will change your life. This question will cut to the very heart of all decision. When there is doubt in your mind, when there's difficulty in your being, when the clouds are covering your sun. This question will not come from the habitual mind of ego, but the answer must come from beyond the physical self. You can ask this question of yourself to inspire your imagination and your truth. You can ask this question when there is fear, when there is doubt, when there is loneliness, when you find yourself somewhere you are unsure. You can ask the question when you need inspiration and are willing to trust the wisdom. You can ask this question when you want the guidance of those that love you without any possible reason. Now, you can only ask it if you are willing to let your mind fall still and your heart be involved in the asking of the question. And you can only hear the answer from the one who talks to you constantly, the spiritual self. So the quiet mind is required to ask with the heart of love, and the quiet mind listens for the answer with the heart of love. And the question is simple. It is not difficult. It will not require anything of you but the quietness to ask and to receive the answer. And the question is, what would Spirit do now? And if you ask this question, you will see the habit of your ego to answer it. You see the old pathways that your mind has formed time and time again. And with that stillness, you can allow a new path. And then you will be given what is best for you. So as you come to the highways of life and you do not know your way, the doubt arises within your being. But these are the clouds which will block the sun. Have a moment of stillness. Ask your question. Your heart is important, so it should be open. Your mind must be still, so that it can receive the solution. And be inspired by spirit to enter your life. A spirit will turn you on a path away from what is not right and true, and will guide you on the path of what is most necessary. If you fight your life, you will not win. If you allow the Spirit into your life, there is surrender and trust that will come. So you must make yourself vulnerable. Are you truly ready for spiritual guidance? Are you willing to step into the world that you do not know, away from the conformity and habit of routine that society demands of you? Ask your question and be guided by the ones that love you. Be willing to listen, to feel, to hear. See the synchronicity and see what you most require is that inner voice. If you let your clouds move away from your mind, all that remains is who you are. You should look at the world as no more than a bubble on a stream. Just here for the blink of an eye. And life passes all too quickly in the human self. I am sure you know this already. So your solution and your joy is inside. The trust in spirit is inside. The chasing of external joys will never complete you to be who you really want to be. No pay rise, no new job, no new partner, new house, new location. So let your inner world inspire your outer world. And then you will bring love and happiness everywhere you go. You'll get on an aeroplane and love and happiness will arrive with you in the other location. You will drive your car with love and happiness in your being. And it will blow behind you in the breeze. And that light will attract others. Your mission is not to accomplish. Your mission is not to walk on another planet. Your mission is to love. The hardest person to love is yourself, because you put the clouds in the way of the sun. And when you open just a glimmer to the true self, to your authenticity, it is an unstoppable force that just a mere crack will become a torrent in the blink of an eye. When you become your authentic self, no force will stop the pressure to be completely true. You may try to put a band-aid over the crack and go back to your old way. Many try, but none have succeeded yet. For once a glimmer of truth is known, even the smallest part of the smallest part, it'll become greater than anything you have ever known. So open to the guidance of Spirit. Accept, do not desire. Accept what is there. Because nothing needs to change, even if you think it does. It does not. From our side, we see the world is perfect. From your side, you just need to come to know that you know the world is perfect. That is what is the other side of your clouds. Live above the clouds, and they will not bother you anymore. Forever in the sunlight of Spirit, forever in the truth. How can anything be wrong with that situation? Ask your question and practice. God bless you all.